and Debjit Kundu, and we are so excited. We are back for Esoteric Shifts. Hey, Debjit. We are going to talk about dreams today. We're going to talk about dreams and how they relate to your present, dreams and how they relate to your future, dreams about your past, weird dreams, good dreams, bad dreams, all the dreams. Yay! You excited? I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for our episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's start with you, because we usually talk about me. And as much as I love talking about me, let's talk about you.
Right.
About
Okay.
a dream that you've had. Let's dive into your psyche a little bit here. What dreams have you had recently that are weird?
Okay. I've been preparing for this episode because it's going to come, and I have some dreams that I have, thought about that we are going to discuss. And there's one specifically that I wanted to discuss, which I talked with you, some time back. So let's bring that back. That is the immediate one comes to me was, okay, before I begin, I have to say that the dreams that stands out for me are like the dreams which don't feel as normal, because we have already have seen that dreams are like daily part of our lives. You watch a movie, maybe a scary movie, you go to sleep and you see the ghost in your dream. It happens for everybody and we know it. But there are some dreams where after waking up you feel that, man, that was like seriously intense, or that was like weird, or like that felt like a complete trip to another parallel world or something. So these are like the dreams that probably we are going to explore. And the first dream that I want to talk about, like which comes to me, is like, this is a dream that has been repeating. We talked about it though. That is the lion's dream, like the dreams where you are chased by a predator, like people get chased by snakes or something else, wolves. I've been chased by snakes when I was like a little kid, but the lion's dream is like something that's been happening to me repeatedly. Like since the last 1.5 years, it probably has happened to me more than 6 to 7 times, even more than that, I guess, if I dreams tend to go away from your memory. Now this is a dream that stands out to me because in that dream the feeling is like that there's usually more than one lion present, at least two. I think there might have been where there was one lion, but most of the time there is more than one lion, and they are around the scenery. Either I'm in a field, like in a safari or something, in a car, surrounded by lions, fearing for my life, or I'm inside my apartment, this very apartment, and it's like morning time, like at 5 a.m. in the morning, and there is a lion, climbing up the stair, and I know it. And I'm like scared like hell, as if like the feeling of powerlessness, the feeling of extreme dread, that this is a being like which represent like absolute power, raw, sheer physical power, and I have nothing that I can do to evade the situation. If you hear dogs barking, that's not a lion, okay? They just bark anyways.
Where
In
you
my
are, and
neighborhood.
you know what? They want to join in the conversation. So there you go.
Yeah, we kind of knew that's going to happen. So yeah, this lion's dream has been happening to me like quite repeatedly. Has happened to me, and every time in the dream, I'm like scared like hell, and I know that I can't do anything about it. And almost every time, I'm feeling like I can't escape the situation. That somehow, and even in the end, the lions like come near me, or they break through the door or something, and I never see the end of it, like what happened, they killed me or something. That never happens. I wake up feeling absolutely, like, heavy and tense, as if like I had no sleep or whatsoever, that. And that also
Like
is
the
going
little
on. Yeah.
upset dogs. You feel like the little upset dogs. That's why they're barking, is to show everybody just how upset you really were every time you had this dream.
Kind of. Yeah. So
So
yeah,
there's a lot
that's
to
my
unpack
dream.
here. There is the idea that you repeatedly have the same dream, just in a different
Mhm.
scenario. There is the idea that it is a predator of some kind, that you are feeling that doom and gloom and dread. And then there is the idea that you wake up before anything actually happens.
Yeah.
Lots to unpack there. So let's tackle the first one first. The idea that you're repeating that dream over and over again. Yeah. Why do you think you repeat it over and over again?
Why they have been repeating? Well, I think like since we talked about it last time, in our private discussion, like the thing that came up was like, I been noticing that it has been happening to me for the last 1.5 years. And it was also the exact same time where all the spiritual awakening journey was like in full rage, the hardest of times was going on. During the dark night of the soul situation in 2019, 2020, it was actually repeating much more frequently than it is now. So in that context, it makes me feel that, as you mentioned once, that these lines kind of like represent all the things that I'm kind of like afraid of me becoming. Because when you asked me like what the first three things that I think of when I talk about the lion, right? It's like majestic, it's powerful, and it's something else, big. Yeah, right. So these things, like I am afraid of becoming myself, and that is like being projected as an entity, like a lion coming to me, representing the situation going on in here. Yeah. And I've thought about it, and it does connect, is because as the new kind of thing I'm doing with life coaching for light workers, like I'm like super shy still. I've been doing this stuff with you, we have been releasing episodes and everything, but I'm still super shy, being fully confident about my message, thinking that I am different because this is not the normal thing people do in their normal lives in this world. This is all esoteric and everything, and feeling like this judgment of what will happen, like if people judge me, and a lot of crazy stuff. You know how neurotic I am about this. So I guess it is about that.
He's so cute in his neuroticism. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he's such a cutie. Because it's about owning all the parts of us, right?
Yeah.
It's about owning that majesty, that greatness, that bigness.
Yes, true.
And our fear of that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people think, oh, I had a bad dream. I'm not going to look at it too hard because it was scary. I'm going to forget about it, close the door, not think about it. But really, what we actually should be doing when we're having a terrible dream is doing exactly what Debjit did. Think about why that dream came to you and what the thing that was scary to you in that dream represents for you. And that will unlock the key. That's the key to unlock. That will unlock the key. That's the key to unlock the door to knowledge of what it is that you're actually afraid of. Sometimes you already know, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Yep, thanks, subconscious. I already knew that. But sometimes it's different, and you're a little surprised, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It does make sense, like, because all of those things, like, they have been happening to me, but I never was able to connect it like I did, like when I actually talked with you about this, opened up. How weird it is, like when we talk about the things that happened to you, finally they kind of like make sense. Like, so weird, isn't it?
Sometimes it just takes having that conversation with someone else and them asking the right questions. Like, what does that animal mean for you? What does that situation represent for you? Why do you think you keep having the same dream over and over again? What is the deeper level, not just for, what does the dream dictionary say, but what does it mean to you personally? Because a dream dictionary, it only works if you actually kind of know a little bit about the dream dictionaries. If you don't, then, if you've never heard of a dream dictionary and your teeth are loose in a dream, you're not necessarily going to equate that with money. Maybe you equate loose teeth with a fear of talking, or maybe you equate loose teeth with a fear of not getting enough food to eat and having rickets and your teeth fall out. Maybe you equate it with something else. Like, who knows what you equate it with? But unless you ask that question, you can't really know. And that's where the Dream Dictionary's fantastic tools and resources for fun and to give you kind of a jumping off point, but they're not meant to be the thing that you take as gospel when it comes to your dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, that makes sense. That does make sense. You know, I remember myself when some dreams like this would happen, as you were talking about the dream dictionary thing. When I would have some weird dreams like that, I would search on the internet, what does this dream means, and the dream dictionary would pop up. Sometimes it makes sense, like 30% of the time, 40% of the time, and most of the times it won't, So that's why like I don't frequently go visit the dream dictionary, because it's kind of like does not work for every dream.
Absolutely.
Wow, that does make sense. Now about you. You have some weird dreams also going on. Let's hear about that.
Before we do that, can I just say, if you're feeling stuck on why you're having a specific dream, meditation. Do it however you meditate, however you ruminate on things, however you free associate with things, do that. So if you use a dream map, if you just sit quietly and meditate, if you stand in the shower and talk to yourself and talk to the people in your past, however you meditate, however you process things, do more of that when you have a weird dream, so that you can figure out what the deeper levels of meaning are. And the more you do that, the more levels you're going to discover of that dream. And the added benefit is you're going to remember it more, and you're going to remember more of your dreams, because a lot of people don't remember their dreams.
Yes, absolutely.
And usually that's because they're very blocked off from their spiritual life. The more spiritual you become, the more dreams you have, and the more that freaks people out, right? Like, oh my God, am I going nuts? All of a sudden I'm remembering all of my dreams, and they're like weird ass dreams. What the heck is going on here?
Right.
That is what's going on. Welcome to Dreamland.
Wow.
We're going to process all kinds of crap.
Really? It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so for me, what one should I pick? Because I've had some weird dreams.
Okay.
Actually, I do have one that has never really made sense to me. I had another one that's a near-death experience, but we'll talk about that one after we talk about this one first. So about 18 months ago, I had a very strange dream. I dream about houses a lot, and houses represent, for most people, your mind. They do, whether we want to admit it or not. That is one thing that is absolutely a truism, is that houses represent your mind for most people. Now, there's the odd outlier where it doesn't mean that, but for most people, the house represents your mind. And so I dream about houses a lot because I'm always working on myself. I'm always doing spiritual stuff. So I dream about, housekeeping, and I dream about being back in old houses, and then they're different and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, so I'm having this one weird dream, okay? And I'm walking with someone, it's this gentleman, and I haven't figured what this dream is out yet. So you and I can maybe work on this. So I'm in this weird dream, and I'm walking with this gentleman, and we're outside of my house. And my house is made of a dark gray stone. It's not bricks, it's stones, big stones. It's like a little tiny Georgian mansion, all just little, like 30 foot by 30 foot-ish kind of square box Georgian mansion. It's dark gray stone. It's really pretty. But on the one side of it, there's a little wading pool that's attached to the building. It's also got this dark gray stone everywhere. And there's like 1,000 people in this pool. The pool is probably 30 by 30. And there's packed in here into this little tiny space, like 2 foot of water. And they're packed into this space. And as we're walking up to it, Me and this tall fella were talking, and I don't know what we're talking about. And then the slope under the house gives way and washes the pool away. The house is still standing, the pool is gone. It was very surreal. And then I woke up. I'm like,
Wow.
back and see what happened there. Are the people okay? I mean, it was only a 2-foot pool. They probably are fine, but who knows? The rocks were pretty heavy.
Weird. That's a really weird dream. I mean, like, when is it
Yes.
happening? Like, is it a very recent dream or like?
Like I said, I only had it once and I remember it. So it was very impactful and it means something, but I haven't figured out quite what yet. Because the house was fine, but the little wading pool got washed away from underneath the house. It was like the water in the pool eroded the ground under the house and washed it away. It was very strange. Never went in the house. So maybe it wasn't about a mind dream. Maybe it was something else. I don't know. It was very strange.
My God, that's really a weird dream. I mean, like, so it never repeated. This dream never repeated?
It didn't. No.
Why does it stand out though? Like, you must have had a whole lot of other house dreams, but why
I've
does
had some very weird dreams, but that one I remember. And I don't always remember my dreams. That's something, I don't do a dream diary. A lot of people, when they have a lot of weird dreams, they'll do a dream diary. So when they wake up and they've had a weird dream, they'll write it down right away before they forget the details. I don't do that. I just, whatever I remember, I remember. And if I don't remember the dream, then that's okay too.
Yeah, I exactly. Same for me. Wow, this dream is so weird. Okay, I have a question to ask. In this dream, like for my dream, you know, the lion dream, it was like the feeling, the dominant feeling was, you know, feeling scared, feeling overpowered, and all of that stuff. Was there, you know, dominant feeling, sensation, emotion going on in that dream that you can remember?
I would say the dominant feeling was shock. Like, what the heck? Why is this just, oh my God, it's going away. Why? Is everybody okay? So it wasn't like it was happening to me. It was like I was the observer watching and being totally like stunned and shocked by it. It was very strange.
That is a weird dream. I mean, I do not know how to interpret it because I have no clue, but this is a weird dream, you know? Well, the one thing that, well, you're thinking something. What are you thinking?
You go first.
Okay, okay, this might be absolutely, you know, wrong, okay? But I'll give my shot, okay?
You know what? That is the way to try and decipher a dream, is to just spitball things, even if they feel like they might be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Tossing that out there.
I guess let me go with the you know, the thing that's immediate in my head. When you mention about shock is the immediate feeling, right? It feels like, you know, that being with that person in that house, everything feels like absolutely solid, you know, nothing can happen, no unpredictability of anything is sort. Whereas water, which kind of like represent volatile nature, you know, you splash over water, you fall over water, you slip over water, you know, that is like something which was like being held inside a pool, you know, that was like stabilized. It is now suddenly spilling over. Everything is like chaotic suddenly. So apparently it feels like, I don't know, the theme is something like what you think is stable and rigid suddenly becomes chaotic and you are unprepared for it, you know? Is this a theme that has repeated?
That was probably my life at the time. I was going through kind of a dark night of the soul. I've now come out the other side of that, but at the time I was very unsure of what direction to go in, how things were going to work out for me. And so, yeah, it absolutely makes sense that that dream totally represents the instability that I was building my house on. I thought I was building with these big rocks, but one of the things I built was a pool to house all of that instability and uncertainty, and it undercut the house and caused a slump. Yeah. So
You much better describe the dream than I did, actually, the way you described it. By the way, what you were thinking about, did you had any other idea about this
almost
dream?
exactly that same thing. I just struggled to um, verbalize it as well as you did. So thank you for verbalizing it in a way that made more sense to me so that I could
Oh
then
my
just
God.
say back, yes, absolutely. That's what I was talking about. Yes.
That is so interesting. That is so interesting. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
this is like one dream that makes a lot of sense. I have some other dreams that immediately coming in my head. Maybe we will do it in our next episode, but I'll just give you a hint. Should I?
Let's
What
do
do you
one.
think?
Do one more of yours and then we'll do one of mine. We'll do my
Okay, okay, let's do it.
we'll
Let's do it.
end on the
Okay.
grand finale of me.
Okay. Because so unusual. I've been noticing this. I guess like it's the same for our viewers, our audience. That is like when you hear stories about us, because when I talk with you, so many other memories come in which were like forgotten.
Absolutely.
Crazy, but it is
Mhm.
coming.
Right back
Uh,
at you. Like, oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
isn't it? Isn't it? So there's another super cool dream that a lot of them, three of them actually, that I remember, but they're connected, and they're all connected with the dark night of the soul. Okay, so that is
Ooh.
super interesting. Um, there are many things in my life which are like very like symbolical. As I also talked with you, many symbologies that have been very relevant. One of the symbologies that have been very persistent in my life, which I've drawn inspiration from, was the metamorphosis of the caterpillar to the butterfly. The first time I came to know about it in the biology school, I guess, maybe from that I was kind of like drawing the spiritual inspiration, like what it kind of like represents, and would much later concretize later during the dark night of the soul things. So but the connection is like this. I remember very clearly when I was like 21, 22, something around that. I was going through my major dark night of the soul back at that time. And I was going through almost the exact same symptoms that I went through in 2019. This time I was having headaches, I was sleeping, I was lethargic, I was going through all of that stuff, but I was resisting back at that time. I was thinking like, this is something bad because I'm a lazy person, because I have depression, that's why my head is hurting. I have existential crisis. Well, that makes sense because I'm asking the big questions. But all the other stuff, I was like, that is not written in the Buddhist scripture or in anything like that I'm studying in the Wikipedia. But much later, now it all makes sense, like people are talking about it. But back at that time, I was resisting it. And I remember that time I saw a dream of this is a weird dream, just like yours, a big pool, okay, but outside, and a pool like very deep, like a square pool, but very deep. And inside, right at the bottom of it, there is a slug. I do not know what exactly a slug is, but the thing uh, like a slimy creature, like a snail sort of thing. You
It's a
know,
slug. That's a
yeah, that's a
slug.
slug, right? Inside that. Now, this dream like was like after waking up, the feeling was like that is a message dream that represents something. What does a slug can represent? I was thinking, I was searching for it, like did not get nothing in the dictionary or stuff like that. Okay. But the feeling that I was getting from the dream was like, right now, like the slug was like, these dreams are so weird because maybe they do not directly information was describe you a lot of things, but you feel something very intense, like, yeah, something is going on. And for me, back at that time, the slug kind of represent the kind of state of being I had going on back that time, very lethargic, going through really depressed periods, lethargic, sleeping throughout the day, headaches and everything. The beingness was like, this the slimy, surrounded by the slug's nature, kind of like, it's surrounded by all those slimy fluid. It does not allow it to move faster. It's, can you feel that thing that was like what I was going through in my beingness. It was not fresh. It was not high spirited. It was like that, and it was representative of that dream. Much later, it was in 2019, and actually before that, where I was going through another episode, I have a story where I was cutting off from a religious sort of association, which I won't get into. Not a good story of my life, but I was cutting off some belief system which
He used to be a monk.
oh, come on. Oh my God. Yes, I kinda, not entirely, but kinda. Yeah. And I was into that kind of religious association for 1 year because of relationship breaking up and stuff like all nonsense. Okay. And I was cutting off from it. I was very intensely in that association, the religious stuff, for 1 year. And when I was cutting off from it, I remember that I saw a dream of leeches being pulled up from my hands. Lots of leeches in my hand, and I'm really pulling them off, and it's bleeding like crazy. Like all the bad blood is just coming out, coming out, coming out. And it was exactly at that time when it was going on, getting out of a certain religious association. I'm not against religion, like people who follow it or stuff like that. I have nothing against it. It's like it was not my path. And when I got out of it, in order to get myself, pull myself out of that entire belief system, and be on my own truth, walk my life on my own truth, it felt like, getting this belief system out felt like pulling leeches from my body. And exactly I saw that dream, that I'm bleeding, but it feels like freedom, that you have got leeches out of your hand. It bleeds, but it does not pain. It feels like, yeah, got rid of it, and now you're free.
Almost like you're releasing the poisons. Right?
Yes, like toxins, like that.
That is
Yeah.
what leeches represent, is leeching away that poison, pulling away the belief system that no longer applies to you. Absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, these two dreams suddenly, came up while I was talking with you. You were talking about the house and everything. They were both happening in such like intense period of my transformation, my journey, my spiritual journey, and both represented like so clearly what was going on. Now your time. Tell me about
Let's
it.
talk briefly about this slugs and the leeches, though, because I think it's interesting that your dreams tend to have a lot of nature in them. Lions and slugs and leeches and bullfrogs from back in the first episode. You tend, I mean, that's not quite the same thing, but you tend to have a lot of nature in your world.
Actually, you're right. I did not ever think about it. It is actually right. Yeah. Lots of nature.
Even, you got a pack of dogs out your window barking at you. Only when you talk and when you're a little nervous. Do you ever notice that? Your dogs are only ever out there when you're a little nervous. They're like, yip, 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 yip.
The speed of my vibration,
Absolutely. So you are very in tune with nature. Mm-hmm. And someday we're going to talk about your whole monkhood. It'll be a fun talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we won't do that for this episode. You'll have to keep tuning in. I'll pull it out of him on camera, and then you'll know all of his story. It'll be fun, I promise.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that you are very in tune with nature, and that's why you tend to, your dreams tend to be nature-based, whereas I am in tune with architecture and the feeling of homeness. So for me, my dreams tend to be about buildings.
Wow, that makes sense, actually, because when you were describing your dream, I was thinking like, does people dream about homes? That never happened to me. Like, what?
Absolutely. Because I had a fair amount of trauma in my life, my safe space was my grandmother's house. So every house, no matter what it looks like, is usually my grandmother's house. Except for the big gray stone one. That was mine. But every other house is my grandmother's house. Even when it does not look anything like her house, there is always one element that I'm like, oh, this is grandma's. Okay, I can do this. I'm in grandma's place. It feels safe. It feels cozy. It feels comfortable. Even when it's feeling scary or uncomfortable or there's weird shit going on, it still feels like that energy of protection. And that is really interesting to me. I always feel protected. Maybe it's just because she's hanging out with me. I don't know.
Wow, that's
I
interesting.
know she was reincarnated in one of my cousin's kids, but you know, you can be in all the places all at once. We're all dancing on the head of a pin time-wise, in all of our timelines, in all of our beings, in all of our galaxies, all of our energy, in all of these timelines are all dancing on the head of a pin. They're all interconnected. You can bounce around between them, do all the things all at one time.
Wow, that's super cool, isn't it? Okay, let's do that.
And I love Einstein for figuring that out. Can I just say Einstein is my hero? Okay.
I know.
Now let's talk my weirdest dream ever.
Okay.
I'm 15 years old. I'm having a weird dream. My dog and I are running around being chased by someone. We run into a room and there's a water dish there, a dog's water dish. It's metal. And there's nowhere else to go. And this guy, he's coming at me and he's got a shotgun and he shoots me in the face.
What?
And I fall into the water dish. And I remember I can't see in water. It bothers my eyes. So I can't open my eyes underwater. I don't care what kind of water it is. It can be like freaking Visine saline solution. And I'm still going, it hurts. Why are people doing this to me? I don't understand. Thank God for goggles.
Oh my God.
And I'm staring through the water at the guy who's now just standing there because he did his thing and I'm dying. And I'm staring at the dog and Snoopy's licking, her name was Snoopy. She's licking my face gently, trying to make me feel better.
But you're inside water, isn't it?
My face, it's in the dog's water, yes. And I'm dying in the dog's water. So I'm like, and I die. And then I'm in a tunnel. And this was, I had never at this point heard of having end of life experience like this. So this is totally like, I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm and I'm thinking, okay, this is the weirdest dream ever. I don't want to have this dream anymore. I just got shot in my dream and I died in my dream. You're not supposed to die in dreams. That's not how dreams work. I was 15, right? Like, no. People don't die in their dreams. No. So I'm on this river in the dark and it's the perfect temperature water. You know, sometimes you're in the perfect temperature water and it's just like, it's warm, it's soothing, it feels perfect. So I'm laying there in this water, just absolutely like, I love to float on my back in water. So I'm laying on my back in this water, just going, yeah, it's like amazing. This feels amazing. I could just stay here forever, but I'm kind of floating and it kind of goes forward and backward, just like a tide almost. I can feel it pulling me towards something, but I kind of go forward a little bit and then back a little bit. Then forward a little bit and back a little bit. And that went on for a good 10 minutes. So I'm just in this really soothy place with like 10 minutes, mellow as heck. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the best place ever. Can I just be here forever? And then I come up to this light, big white light. And I'm floating towards this white light and I get the sense that it's going to be even better when I hit the white light. Like this bliss that I'm feeling now is going to be even better. How much better can it be, right? I'm already in bliss. I'm in my happy place. I'm floating on my back in water. The water is the perfect temperature for me. I've got a little bit of a current moving me around. I'm really soothed. It's nice and dim. It's perfect. I get up to the gate I guess it's a gate. I'm assuming at this point in this life now, not at that age. I get up to wherever the light is. I'm assuming it's the pearly gates. I don't know. I get up there and I hear this beautiful, deep voice say, "Why are you here? It's not your time." And I fell out of bed.
Wow. Like seriously?
Woke up.
And then what
I
happened?
woke up. I was out of bed because I fell out of bed. I'm on the floor.
I
going,
remember.
what the hell was that dream? What the hell? How?
That's crazy. I remember you mentioning that you not only just fell out of your bed, it's like you dropped from the
Yeah, it felt like
air
I
or
was
something like that.
being, it felt like I was being dropped from a really high thing. And like, it felt like I was floating and floating and floating and floating. And then the last 2 seconds, it felt like I was being like sucked back into my body somehow.
Wow.
And it almost felt like I'd been electrocuted at the same time. Like, it was the weirdest thing.
My God. When did this dream happen though? Like,
I was 15. I didn't
and
really have any particular trauma at that point that I was working through.
Mhm.
I mean, life had been pretty unpleasant for most of my life. But there wasn't anything special going on at that time that I was trying to escape from. To this day, I'm not quite 100% sure.
This looks like not a dream, like a message dream, like the ones we have been sharing. This looks like something happened. Do you think it's like from a past life or something? Because could be, right?
No, I think it was a near-death experience.
But that lady getting shot in the face, that thing?
Me getting shot in the face. Well, it was me, my body, my face, all of it. And I remember afterwards, here's the weirdest part. After I stopped breathing in the dream, I remember being able to see myself laying there with the dog licking me and my face in the water bowl. And then going into, like, it was like instantly like, okay, oh my God, that's me. This body, this face, this hair. Oh, my hair's wet. Damn it. That's going to take a million years to dry. My hair takes a really long time to dry. And then I was out of there and in the tunnel just instantly. And it was very surreal. So I think that, okay, here's the thing that they think happens. They think if you die in your dream, you actually die. They think. They haven't really proven it, but they think that if you die in your dream, you actually die in real life. So I think I actually did die. I don't know what I died from, but I think that I probably sleep apnea because I think I have sleep apnea. I think I died. I think I probably stopped breathing, had a little hypoxia, died, and then whatever.
Okay.
Mr. Universe said,
it's not time.
not
right
your time.
now.
You're not supposed to be here. Kicked me out.
Wow. Kicked you out, isn't it? Bad guy. Like, seriously.
Don't do that. It was amazing.
Wow, that's a seriously interesting dream. I mean, like, wow. The tunnel and everything. You know, I did that whole past life regression thing with you. Every time you get me through the tunnel, I guess we're going to talk about all that stuff maybe in another episode. But it seems that tunnel might have a connection, I guess. Like, I don't know. Why tunnel?
I think tunnels do have a connection. There's a lot of spiritual connection to tunnels. There is the whole, how we are created and how we come out of the world is a tunnel. There is the whole idea that for most of our lives, tunnels and caves have been, most of humanity's lives, I guess I should say, tunnels and caves have been some of the safest places for us to be in times of danger. There is the idea that tunnels and caves are where all of our precious things come from, jewels, precious minerals, metals, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of symbolism when it comes to tunnels and caves and all that kind of stuff.
It does make sense. Yeah. But that was seriously an interesting dream. I mean, like, it has got me thinking. I'm like, seriously.
It's
wow.
a weird dream. It's like, living with that in my head for the last however many years
That's a
has
lot.
been a trip. And it has been something to try and live up to. Like I feel like I was given a second chance, and that I have been trying my hardest since then to live up to whatever expectations were made for me to take advantage of that second chance, to do whatever it was that I actually am supposed to do on this planet. And I do believe that part of that is helping other women to heal their traumas, and helping men too, but just to help people heal their traumas and release all of the stuff that's holding them back so that they can own their majesty, own their bigness, own their greatness.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
true. And you have done that. I mean, like, seriously, I know firsthand. So in that sense, right? Okay, we discussed and explored a lot about, dreams. Not a lot, I guess, but at least the good stuff,
We
to
had a
begin
couple
with.
of different ideas. Yeah, a couple of different ideas going on in there. So I hope this has been helpful for someone, that they kind of
Yeah,
are like, oh, yeah, that totally is me. My
absolutely.
thing's binging like crazy here. So
Okay, I guess like we are going to end our discussion with this. Is there anything you want to say to our audience, our viewers, like about dreams? Anything that you want their comments on, feedback?
if you're ever feeling stuck for what a dream means, really go back to basics. Either journal it out, meditate on it, do free association. Just think about what the elements of the dream mean for you, and then try and apply those elements to what's actually going on in your life. And if you really find yourself getting stuck, don't feel like the dream journal or the dream dictionary is going to be your be all end all, because what you think about a certain thing might be totally different from what the dream dictionary says that it represents. One really good example that I can think of is white mice. For me, all mice, they're vermin, they're disease ridden, they are carriers of death, they are not nice animals. I don't like rats. I don't like rodents of any kind, way, shape, or form. Please keep them away from me. I don't care. I don't care if they're your pet. I don't care if it's a gerbil or a gopher or a guinea pig. If it's a rodent, I'm not interested. But in the dream dictionary, it says that white mice are very, very lucky and they bring money. Okay, but if I don't want them around me and I don't associate them with money, then I'm not going to resonate with that result from the dream dictionary. And it's not going to be true for me. You have to make sure whatever it is true for you.
Wow.
Even if it's an answer that you really didn't want to hear.
Right. It does make sense because, like, because the personal, resonance that you have with a certain, symbology, it cannot be, generally put in place by any dream dictionary as such. I mean, like, it's entirely yours. And I guess the thing we can take away from this entire discussion is that the meditation thing you mentioned, whenever a dream happens, if you think it's relevant, you meditate and all the things kind of like, will be made clear to you.
Meditate or free associate or journal or talk it out with someone that you know who knows you in your situation, or a stranger even. Find somebody like Debjit or I and talk it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are going to end our discussion with this, takeaway, I guess. And so if you are watching in any of our channel, do click the subscribe button and bell notification. Leave a comment on like, what are the things you related with, things that resonated with you, any memories, you could, you remembered while we were, discussing about our stuff that might came up, might mean something. And do look forward to more of our discussions on topics like this, because we are going to be doing more discussions about the things that happens in our life during our spiritual journey, dreams, deja vu. We did a lot of things. We did timelines already. Check
Mm-hmm.
our playlist, and you'll have a lot of things to go through. Okay,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so that's it for today, and we are going to meet you soon in the next episode. So have a
Bye.
great day. Bye bye.